I am CD Mwabweze, your rural news tour guide. Let me show you what they showed me, and please believe this story. Slave trade remains one of the darkest parts of black nations in Africa. In Nigeria, Akwa Ibom State has historical indications showing it was one of the hotbeds of slave trade. Rural news tourism took us to Ikot Abasi to check out the relics of slave trade, which are now among top tourist attractions in Nigeria. Our trip took us to Ikot Abasi seashore, where we saw one of the worst historical reminders of slave trade, the Bridge of No Return. This is a floating bridge made with corrugated iron and steel, located on the bank of Ikot Abasi Sea. It was originally constructed in 1795. Slaves bound in chains were forced through this bridge onto ships waiting to take them to Europe and America. At the entrance of the bridge is a signpost which contains a quick brief about the bridge, and this was placed here in 2014 after the reconstruction of the bridge. Here's what it says. The Bridge of No Return. This jetty was first built in 1795 by the Europeans for the purpose of conveying slaves into waiting ships. It is a floating jetty and 3 major underground holding compartments which were used in storing very stubborn slaves. The compartments have a capacity for about 30 people, but about 150 slaves were stored there at any given time. It was nicknamed the Bridge of No Return because once a slave stepped on it, they were not allowed to look back, and they never returned. Today, you can step on it, look back, walk on this bridge, and return. To God be the glory. One unique feature of the original version of this bridge is that it had a link midway through it, which made it float with the direction of the wave. But the bridge could not be swept off by the sea because it was anchored by giant concrete. The bridge has 3 underground compartments. You can see them. This is one, and that's the other one, and then there's one down there. Of course, there was no way I wouldn't take a look inside the compartment. So I decided to take a quick look inside the compartment, and what I saw was unbelievable. There was actually no window, nothing like an opening inside. So at a point you will wonder how 150 slaves managed to survive inside this small compartment. It was a nightmare. The brown substance you see on the floor is rust from iron used in building the compartment. This compartment was first built with iron rods and then cast with concrete and raw cement so that no group of stubborn slaves can force it down. The rust from the iron is now staining the wall and mixing with water to give the brown color that you see on the floor. Remember, this compartment was built in 1795. I'm sweating profusely, so it's time to head back to freedom. What a wonderful experience! On the bridge of no return and the 3 compartments that each held 150 stubborn slaves, I'm back to freedom. We then left the bridge and headed to the slave warehouse just opposite the bridge. This was where captured slaves that were not stubborn were kept and weighed on scale to know their market value before being sold to traders from Europe and America. That's the giant hook that was used to measure slaves on a scale, of course a giant scale. So that hook you are looking at was used to hang the scale which the slaves stood on for them to be measured to know their actual value before they were sold to slave traders. The iron spur was used to mark the slaves to identify them. They were given marks on their backs by the slave owners. And the chain was used to hold their hands and legs and of course their necks in some cases to make sure they don't escape. This was supposed to be an interesting trip, but it ended up being a sad reminder of the darkest part of Africa's history, which witnessed some episodes in Ikot Abasi.